back to our channel. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the latest, most dramatic, and highly emotional developments from Genoa City. We are thrilled to have you with us as we uncover the darkest secrets waiting to explode. Let us jump right into the heart-pounding action. In this edition of Young and the Restless spoilers, the magnificent Abbott Mansion, a grand symbol of immense power and prosperity in Genoa City, has now been transformed into a dark, suffocating prison where suffocating secrets and brutal betrayals are choking the life out of everyone inside. A shocking and catastrophic event is quietly unfolding, shaking the very foundation of this powerful family to its core. Jack Abbott, a man who once commanded absolute authority in the business world, is now forced to bow his head in the most cruel and deadly game of his life. Diane Jenkins Abbott, the wife he loves deeply, has vanished without a trace, leaving him with a terrifying void and absolute panic. But what is even more horrifying is that Jack is being forced to play out a fake, sickening romance, a bloody theatrical performance with the deeply deranged Patty Williams. Every smile, every look Jack gives Patty is a knife twisting in his heart, but he has no other choice. Diane's safety rests entirely in Patty's blood-stained hands, and Jack knows just how incredibly dangerous this deceptive plan is. How long can Jack continue to wear this fake mask before the monster inside Patty awakens and destroys everything in its path? As the week of June 22nd to 26th begins, the atmosphere in Genoa City becomes even thicker with the harsh, escalating threats from Patty Williams. She is no longer just an enemy hiding in the shadows. She is now the ultimate manipulator of the entire chessboard, wearing a savage smile. Fully aware of her absolute power, Patty constantly reminds Jack that Diane's life hangs by a very thin thread, one that could snap at any moment if he dares to disobey her twisted commands. Patty's demands are becoming increasingly unreasonable and pathological. She wants Jack to belong to her completely body and soul, and threatens to use far more drastic, ruthless measures to prove that her words are not a joke. Jack, carrying the agonizing pain of just learning the earth-shattering secret about his lost daughter Audra Charles, must force himself to endure this immense humiliation. He is gambling with the lives of the people he loves most, desperately trying to appease Patty while secretly gathering critical intelligence. Will Jack's immense patience be enough to soothe a soul as shattered and vengeful as Patty's? While outwardly Jack continues to play the role of a submissive and devoted lover, inside he is a raging volcano waiting to erupt. Every agonizing second he spends next to Patty, Jack is relentlessly gathering intelligence, piecing together the smallest fragments of information to uncover Diane's true whereabouts. With extreme intuition and absolute determination, Jack gradually begins to see the glaring holes in Patty's delusional narrative. Patty has constantly insisted that Diane is locked away in some remote psychiatric clinic to treat a catastrophic breakdown under the care of a random, unnamed doctor. However, a husband's desperate intuition tells Jack that the truth is far darker and much more sinister. Diane is not in a legitimate medical facility at all. She is being held captive in a living hell known as the private residence of Dr. Lawrence Markham. Who could have ever predicted that a respected psychiatrist would turn out to be a sick, twisted accomplice in this cruel game of captivity? How exactly does Jack manage to confirm this earth-shattering piece of information? Perhaps, in a rare moment of negligence by her captor, Diane manages to break through the psychological barricade. Even though she is being severely mentally manipulated and is slowly falling into Stockholm Syndrome under Markham's cruel hands, Diane's survival instinct still flickers. Imagine the heart-stopping scene where a trembling Diane manages to unlock the passcode of a hidden phone and sends a desperate, fragmented text message to Jack, revealing the hellish location where she is being held. Or perhaps, through his own sheer cunning, Jack follows a trail of financial clues and Patty's secret phone calls to pinpoint Dr. Markham's hidden lair. Either way, this bloody truth ignites a fragile ray of hope, but simultaneously pushes Jack into an unprecedentedly dangerous situation. How will Jack use this explosive information to turn the tables and save his desperately trapped wife? At the locked, isolated house of Dr. Lawrence Markham, a horrifying psychological torture is taking place every single day. Diane is not only physically imprisoned, but is also being violently stripped of her entire sense of reality. Markham, utilizing highly sophisticated and deeply unethical manipulation techniques, has brainwashed Diane into believing that Jack has completely abandoned her. That Jack is living happily ever after with Patty, and that she is truly a mental patient in dire need of his special care. This extreme isolation and the toxic lies have caused Diane to start losing her own identity. She has no idea that on the outside, Jack is enduring the most horrific torments imaginable to find a way to save her. The truth of Jack's agonizing sacrifice is completely obscured by Markham's thick veil of deception, causing Diane to slowly develop warped, dependent feelings for her captor. Can Diane hold on to her last shred of sanity before she completely collapses and becomes a permanent puppet in the hands of this perverted doctor? Fully realizing the extreme, life-threatening danger of the situation, Jack understands that he cannot fight this deadly battle entirely alone. He makes the bold decision to share the horrifying truth about Diane's captivity with his brother, Billy Abbott. Upon hearing Jack's agonizing confessions, Billy is left completely stunned and terrified. He cannot believe that Patty could orchestrate such a cruel, elaborate scenario, and he is even more shocked that a medical professional like Markham is the accomplice hiding this crime. A fierce outrage ignites within Billy, but alongside it comes an overwhelming sense of dread. Billy deeply fears the catastrophic, deadly consequences that will rain down on both Jack and Diane if Dr. Markham discovers their rescue plan. This unhinged doctor could do absolutely anything, including eliminating Diane to silence her and cover up his kidnapping crimes. Is involving Billy a wise strategic move, or will it accidentally push the entire Abbott family into an inescapable death trap? Despite Billy's severe warnings and extreme anxiety, Jack does not back down for a single second. His mind is laser-focused on one singular goal. He will not allow Diane to suffer another moment in the evil clutches of Dr. Markham. Jack devises a highly risky, do-or-die plan. Billy must find a way, using any trick necessary, to lure Markham away from the premises, creating a precious, narrow window of time. Jack believes this is his absolute best option, as he would rather risk his own life than let his wife rot in that house. If Markham leaves the residence, Jack will have a golden opportunity to break in, face whatever traps lie inside, and rescue his beloved wife. This is an all-or-nothing gamble where every single step could lead to sudden death. Can the Abbott brothers execute this high-stakes mission flawlessly when the ultimate price of failure is blood, tears, and their own freedom? Right in the middle of this suffocatingly tense planning phase, Kyle Abbott finally appears and secretly reunites with his father. The bond of father and son, the deep connection of blood, has never been stronger as they share the same agonizing pain and the exact same goal, saving Diane. Kyle, who previously went out of his mind with absolute panic when his mother mysteriously vanished, now has to face a reality that is far more cruel and complex. When Jack reveals the entire dangerous rescue plan and the sickening truth about Patty and Markham, Kyle feels the blood boiling in his veins. He cannot accept that his mother is being psychologically manipulated by a sick doctor every single day. Kyle swears he will do absolutely anything, sacrifice everything, to bring his mother back, and he is ready to walk straight into the lion's den. But will Kyle's intense hatred and blind rage cloud his judgment, causing him to make a fatal mistake in this life-or-death moment? Jack knows perfectly well that for the break-in to be successful, they need a flawless decoy to distract both Patty and Dr. Markham simultaneously. And no one else but Kyle will have to take on this incredibly dangerous, pivotal role. Kyle will have to swallow his deep disgust, approach Patty, and pretend that he is slowly accepting the twisted relationship between her and his father. This is a highly sophisticated and extremely risky psychological game. Kyle must act so convincingly that Patty, a highly suspicious and deeply deranged woman, actually believes he wants to check if she has fully recovered. By insisting on speaking directly with Dr. Markham to confirm Patty's psychological state, Kyle will create the perfect excuse to draw both enemies into a meeting, pulling them far away from Diane's location. Does a young man like Kyle have the iron will and nerve to outsmart the most cunning and ruthless foxes in Genoa City? Kyle's plan is not merely a simple distraction. It is a brutal psychological warfare that demands absolute cold-bloodedness. Kyle will have to look straight into the eyes of the woman who indirectly imprisoned his mother and deliver sweet, convincing lies. He might tell Patty that if she can prove she is sane and can bring Jack happiness, he will not stand in their way. Every single word Kyle speaks will be a calculated test of Patty's deep-seated paranoia. Patty has always desperately craved recognition and a sense of belonging within the Abbott family, and Kyle's fake acceptance could be the fatal weak point that makes her lower her guard. Simultaneously, dragging Dr. Markham into the discussion about Patty's health will force him to leave the house where Diane is being kept. But will Patty and Markham fall into this trap so easily? Or will they smell the danger hidden behind the sudden change in attitude of a son who always fiercely protects his mother? While Kyle and Billy pour all their energy into casting the net and stalling Patty and Markham, Jack Abbott prepares for the most defining moment of his entire life. Dressed in dark clothing, carrying lock-picking tools, and a heart bleeding with severe anxiety, Jack advances toward the evil doctor's house. Every step he takes in the dark night is a tense heartbeat caught between life and death. He knows that behind those locked doors, Diane is waiting, perhaps in a state of sheer panic, or worse, no longer recognizing him due to the cruel effects of Stockholm Syndrome. Jack must mentally prepare for the absolute worst-case scenario. Diane might actively resist the very man coming to save her, fiercely protecting the monster who manipulated her mind. Will Jack's intense, unwavering love have enough power to awaken Diane's true reason, pulling her out of the deep abyss of psychological manipulation and bringing her back to the light? The rescue plan sounds brilliant on paper, but in the deceitful, unpredictable world of Genoa City, absolutely nothing is guaranteed. The storyline where why and are finally allows Jack to become the ultimate savior and accidental psychological expert, breaking Diane free from Markham's reptilian manipulation. Sounds incredibly heroic and fitting. However, unforeseen variables are always lurking in the shadows. What will happen if Patty suddenly snaps into a psychotic rage and sees right through Kyle's theatrical performance? What will happen if Dr. Markham has installed a state-of-the-art security system that Jack knows absolutely nothing about? Or even more horrifyingly, what if Diane, lost in the delirium of her brainwashing, actually calls to alert Markham the moment she sees Jack approaching? The fragile line between the glory of a successful rescue and the tragedy of total ruin is razor-thin. Can Jack overcome every single obstacle to hold his wife in his arms once again? All eyes are now completely fixated on this uncompromising, brutal battle for survival. The Abbott family is standing right on the precipice of total destruction, surrounded by dark secrets, violent threats, and vicious betrayals from their most dangerous enemies. The night blankets Genoa City like a thick, black velvet curtain, hiding the malicious plots that are about to explode into the open. Jack Abbott is ready to trade absolutely everything, including his own life and honor, to snatch Diane back from the devil's grasp. Kyle and Billy are playing with deadly fire, facing off against psychopaths who possess zero moral boundaries. When the decisive moment finally strikes, a massive explosion of raw emotion and violent action is bound to occur, shaking the entire city to its core. All secrets will be forcefully exposed, and every single mask will be violently ripped away. Will this tear-soaked rescue mission end in a warm, triumphant reunion, or will it open a brand new, terrifyingly dark chapter of tragedy for the Abbott dynasty?